Hello, and thank you for joining us for the second episode of You Can't Get There From Here, a brand new collection of audio dramas from Toronto's Factory Theatre. My name is Nina Lee Aquino, and I am the Artistic Director of Factory Theatre and the director of this episode. Each episode of You Can't Get There From Here is set in Toronto, and it stands on land under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, a treaty between the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, and the Anishinaabe, which includes the Mississaugas of the Credit, that bounds them to share the territory and protect the land. All Indigenous nations and settlers alike are invited to live by the treaty's terms in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Today, the meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous people across Turtle Island. Factory acknowledges with gratitude all the storytellers, stewards, and caretakers, recorded and unrecorded, on whose territory we are able to live and thrive. In this episode, we are so proud to present the world premiere of First Métis Man of Odessa by award-winning playwright Matthew MacKenzie, and featuring the vocal talents of Christine Horn and Craig Lazon. A captivating romantic comedy set against the backdrop of a global pandemic, this story is sure to warm even the most COVID-fatigued hearts. Whether you're listening in your homes or taking a walk through the city, we hope you enjoy this journey.
A man with a sense of humor stands the best chance in life.
Not a man with all the answers,
Not a man with an ibex-like physique.
but a man who can laugh.
In the face of almost certain defeat.
Ivan,
Ivan,
Vanya,
Vanichka,
let us tell you,
let us tell you how you came to be here,
on the shores of Lake Ontario,
in Toronto.
Avdiivka, Eastern Ukraine. A field of sunflowers is all that stands between my colleagues and I and Russian-backed separatist mercenaries. We've been in Ukraine for several weeks, interviewing those caught up in a war that most of the world has forgotten. Our research culminates in a workshop in Kyiv.
Mortars fall in the distance.
In the workshop, I meet Masha, an actress originally from Odessa.
They boom closer and closer.
She is small but formidable,
Boom,
passionate about the work,
boom,
and unforgiving of those who don't do enough of it.
boom. Most men get into theater so they can listen to their own voice as much as possible, but not Matthew. For 3 days, he sits and he listens. It makes me want to know what he's thinking in his head.
Masha and I start chatting after the workshop,
We strike up a friendship.
but we're both in relationships.
Nothing serious.
Well, mine is, so nothing happens.
We discuss Chekhov, Tolstoy, and Dostoevsky.
With Masha distinguishing between whether someone is a good writer or if they speak truth.
Because there's a difference.
We go out every evening with our theater colleagues and Ukrainian and American veterans.
The Ukrainians talk about revolution and high ideals. The Americans talk about cheeseburgers and strippers.
But no matter the conversation or the company, Masha and I always seem to end up embroiled in some heated debate.
Like, who are the better singers? The Backstreet Boys or the Russian Red Army Choir?
On the day we say goodbye, we find ourselves alone on a deserted Kyiv cobblestone street.
He wants to kiss me, but he's too shy.
I'm not shy. I'm in a relationship. I'm a loyal guy.
I am filled with sorrow that he's too afraid to embrace me.
I'm not afraid.
Prosjai.
We say goodbye.
This will be the last time I see him. I'm certain.
But I have a funny feeling I will see this small but formidable woman in the fur hat and silver high heels again.
To my amazement, a month after we part, Matthew begins a correspondence.
I can't get Masha out of my head.
Over many months, Matthew messages me from all across Canada, or Turtle Island, as he calls it.
Masha messages me from all over Russia and the former Eastern Bloc.
Matthew travels like a circus boy.
Masha travels like a Soviet spy.
I worry that I'm falling for somebody who's a world away, who loves somebody other than me. But Matthew's relationship ends suddenly.
After a time, I message Masha, asking if she too might have felt something when I was in Ukraine. She responds immediately.
Certainly. You conquered me.
After an avalanche of correspondence,
Romantic correspondence.
the decision is made that Masha will come visit Canada.
I caution, we must not get swept away too quickly. We're both Pisces.
My parents worry that Masha might be scamming me for money.
My parents worry that Matthew will sell me into sex slavery.
We ignore their misgivings and Masha flies to me.
Toronto is amazing!
I can't believe she thinks Toronto is amazing.
I tried venison for the first time.
With dried Saskatoon berries,
We go to Niagara Falls!
embracing in the mist.
Like in that movie with Marilyn Monroe.
We climb the mountain in Montreal.
But it isn't a mountain at all.
We stop in Odessa, Ontario.
It's nothing like the Odessa I know.
Masha tries Tim Hortons coffee for the first time.
Oh, it's appalling.
We drive past our 15th Golden Arches, and Masha tells of how after the Soviet Union fell, the first business to set up shop in Odessa from America was McDonald's.
Everyone got dressed in their best and had their picture taken in front of it.
I suggest we stop and take a formal picture in front of McDonald's as well.
His joke is unsuccessful.
Back in Toronto, we walk around Cabbagetown with my French bulldog Nev.
Matthew speaks to his dog in very unusual manner.
You tender pooch.
You nipply nugget.
Nevy, you're such a special girl. Nevy, you're...
The specialest girl in the world.
After we are intimate for the first time, Masha says dreamily,
You're not a sadist.
we go to the theater, where right before the climax of a Canadian classic, Masha memorably whispers,
We are surrounded by farters.
parting ways, we make plans to reunite in 2
2
months' time.
when Matthew is back on another contract in Ukraine.
Masha is convinced she will never see me again.
Every time I've ever hoped for something, it has gone down in flames.
I listen to Khachaturian's famous Russian waltz, dancing around and around my living room with Nev, dreaming of when Masha and I will be reunited.
I visit family in Russia over the holidays who worry that Matthew is CIA.
The 2 months apart are agonizing.
Matthew returns to Ukraine.
It is a very happy reunion.
We travel to Odessa
So I can see where Masha is from,
and meet my mother and father.
to assure them I am not a sex trafficker.
They're very protective of their daughter.
I've never seen drivers like the ones in Odessa. It's like every taxi is a getaway car.
My parents love Matthew.
We walk with them along the shores of the Black Sea.
We climb the steps of Potemkin.
We are serenaded by musicians in a smuggler's tavern, singing about the exploits of famed Odessa bandits.
They also sing about romance.
About bandits stealing lovers from other bandits.
They have a wide repertoire.
We go to the famed Odessa Opera House.
Buying tickets to whatever is playing that night.
Remarkably, Khachaturian's waltz plays to open the show. The very same waltz I had listened to in anticipation of being reunited with Masha again.
After the show, we sip cherry wine,
Then walk the Grand Promenade
dancing under the light of the moon.
to an impossibly old man with an accordion playing Celine Dion.
It is the date to end all dates.
Masha memorably grinning like Putin before falling asleep.
In the morning, Matthew must return to Canada.
We make plans to reunite
In
2 months' time.
I am convinced I will never see him again.
I leave Masha burying bodies in a field on the outskirts of the city.
Acting in German for Israeli TV.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Prost chai.
On the flight home, a sense of growing unease as I sit across the aisle from a man who just can't seem to catch his breath, coughing a dry cough as we cross the Atlantic.
Matthew leaves just in time. Virus levels are suddenly exploding.
Arriving back at Pearson, people from all over the world disembark, some clearly unwell. But there is no testing. Border officers don't even ask arrivals if they're experiencing symptoms.
2 days after Matthew and I say goodbye, the international travel ban goes into effect.
Nobody knows when the ban will be lifted. Masha and I suddenly don't know when we will be able to see each other again.
My fear realized.
1 month into the pandemic, with the international travel ban still in effect, Masha informs me before I go to sleep one night that she's
Late.
late.
Right.
We agree that Masha will take a pregnancy test the next day when I'm awake and have my wits about me.
But I can't wait.
I wake the next morning to a series of pictures and emojis that tell me
A little squeakling is on its way.
decisions need to be made quickly.
Will we have our baby in Odessa or in Canada?
If we have our baby in Odessa, there's no saying when we'll be able to get a Canadian passport issued for our little one.
The embassies have stopped processing all passport and visa applications.
So we wouldn't be able to legally fly with our baby. But work won't allow me to stay in Ukraine indefinitely.
Which means we could be separated again.
The thought of being separated after reuniting
After we've welcomed our baby is
unbearable
unbearable
to
to
me.
me.
So we decide we must have our baby in Canada. But Masha's visitor's visa that got her into Canada before isn't enough anymore,
I now must be married to a Canadian national in order to enter.
as per strict new COVID rules.
So, I will give up my flat and move my things from Kiev to Odessa.
I'll figure out how to fly across the world in the middle of a global pandemic.
I'll buy a dress.
I'll buy a tux.
I'll book a band.
I'll pick the flowers.
We
will
will
marry.
marry. Then we will travel to Canada.
Where we will welcome our squeakling.
Our baby boy. After 4 endless months apart,
With Canadians still unable to enter Ukraine.
and foreigners still unable to enter Canada unless they're married to a Canadian national,
We decide to book my flight anyway.
praying that travel restrictions will be eased by the time his flight leaves in 2 weeks' time and he will be permitted entry.
The day before I'm booked to depart, the international travel ban is partially lifted.
Canadians are now allowed into Europe.
I board my plane at Pearson the next morning,
His itinerary taking him first to Germany, then to Turkey.
but we have no idea if I'll be allowed into Ukraine.
Or if he will be deported upon arrival.
Officially, Ukraine requires anyone entering the country to carry health insurance that will cover the costs of a hospital stay if they contract COVID, but no health insurer in the world is offering coverage for the virus.
Unofficially, my mother's contact with border services believes they will not bar Matthew entry so long as he can prove he has money.
Ultimately, much will hinge on the mood of the border officer, which makes me extremely uneasy.
Landing in Frankfurt, Matthew jumps the first hurdle, barely catching his connecting flight.
Touching down in Turkey, I line up for my flight from Istanbul to Kyiv. My heart starts racing when it becomes clear that Turkish Airlines are inspecting everyone's insurance to make sure they will be permitted to enter Ukraine.
Matthew panics. He texts that he doesn't know if he'll be allowed on the flight.
Right ahead of me, a pack of American military contractors are told they can't get on the plane, and they lose it on Turkish Airlines.
Ha! Americans behaving badly.
By the time I come up with my boarding pass and proof of insurance, the attendant is extremely flustered. He immediately notes that my insurance does not specifically state I am covered for COVID, to which I respond musically with the line Masha drilled into me.
It doesn't say it doesn't cover me for COVID.
This gives the attendant pause. Then the Americans resume their barrage, so the attendant just gives me a grim nod and lets me board.
As Matthew flies to Kiev, I receive countless messages from my parents in Odessa and Matthew's family in Canada wanting to know if he's made it. If he is deported, we will have to wait a year before he can even attempt to re-enter the country. I am 5 months pregnant.
On the flight, half of the Americans have somehow managed to browbeat their way on board. So my strategy when we touch down in Kyiv is to simply be at the back of the line again. And once again, the Americans lose it on the Ukrainian border guards, and I stand in line for well over 2 hours as they rage.
While Matthew waits, my phone is exploding. I tell everybody he's arrived safely, but we are waiting to see if he will be granted entry. His mother in Alberta messages begging me to tell him not to make any jokes with the border officers. My mother in Odessa messages asking if he ate on the plane. Our friend in Toronto message saying that if he's detained to call the Canadian embassy immediately. My aunt in Russia messages also asking if Matthew ate on the flight. I message Matthew, my battery is dying!
By the time I get to the border agent, I am the last person in line. The agent says to me, "Oh, you're Canadian." She stamps my passport and in a thick accent says, "Welcome to Ukraine."
Matthew has been granted entry.
I find Masha outside the airport. She has been waiting 5 hours for me.
It is a very happy reunion, indeed.
We travel from Kyiv back to Odessa,
By train.
where we go into quarantine. After the mandatory 2 weeks, Masha and I madly arrange our wedding.
Everyone charges us double.
When they learn I'm foreign,
Cruel Slavic tradition.
but we are able to organize everything amazingly.
Expensively.
We marry on a beautiful summer day in the heart of Odessa.
But due to a misunderstanding, Matthew nearly misses the ceremony.
I got the time wrong. Everyone's always speaking in Russian.
He was dancing to Khachaturian in his hotel room.
I make it.
Just in time.
But before I can take Masha's arm, her friends must ask me 3 questions as per Ukrainian custom.
What is Masha's favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
What is Masha's favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
When is Masha's birthday? My whole family is watching and filming.
Now, what gave me pause
It was a long pause.
is that International Women's Day
An important day in Ukraine.
is either right before or right after Masha's birthday.
He pauses for an eternity. But answers correctly. Following the ceremony, we Zoom with over 100 of Matthew's friends and family.
It is a very strange thing to get married with no one you know attending.
Matthew's mother cries throughout her speech, filled with sorrow that she cannot be with her son at his wedding.
After Zooming, we dance the night away to a klezmer band that nearly outnumbers our wedding party.
As I had always dreamed, on the shores of the Black Sea.
Other couples who have married the same day hear that a foreigner has paid for a full klezmer band, so they show up to dance.
Shara.
Rough translation.
Enjoying something for free. Slavic tradition.
Well, they are most welcome.
6 Odessa couples dance on the beach as the sun sets.
All safely distanced.
Now that we are married, we are in a race to get our documents officially translated and stamped.
Masha is 6 months pregnant.
If I am showing,
There is a chance she won't be let on a flight back to Canada.
our former Soviet bureaucracy drives Matthew to the edge of insanity.
Even when we drive across the city to get the right stamp, there is no guarantee that the office staff won't be on an extended break.
Everyone is working reduced hours due to COVID.
After many an ordeal, we finally get all of our documents in order.
And are able to purchase our tickets to Canada.
But the day before we are to leave, my foot gets infected.
And my mother is diagnosed with COVID.
I can't walk,
We must isolate and get tested.
so we are forced to delay our departure. The next morning, Masha's father
Who is a doctor?
comes to her flat to perform laser therapy on my foot.
My father wonders if Matthew's issue might be psychological.
I am in excruciating pain, but my foot looks fine. It's very frustrating.
Virus numbers are increasing exponentially, and our fragile health system is in danger of collapsing, my father tells me.
We need to get out of Ukraine.
I administer laser therapy 4 times a day for a week until Matthew can walk again.
After another week, we test negative, and Masha's mother fully recovers from COVID.
We are able to see her the night before we leave.
Mercifully.
We say goodbye, not knowing when we will see my parents again.
Our flight takes us first through Germany, then to Canada.
Changing planes in Frankfurt, we must provide our wedding documents and passports.
The attendant shakes his head as he looks at our marriage certificate.
I don't know if he can read English or Ukrainian.
I start to fret.
Viel Spaß.
Masha charms the attendant in German.
He lets us pass.
Arriving at Pearson, our next hurdle is getting past Canadian customs.
All our papers are in order.
But we have no idea if official Ukrainian documents will be recognized in Canada.
My parents messaged me repeatedly, worried I will be sent back to Ukraine and our son will be born illegitimately.
We are beckoned forward to present our papers.
The border officers outnumber the arrivals.
Our fate rests on the mood of this border officer.
He congratulates us on our marriage.
He then asks if we have any COVID-like symptoms, to which Masha responds.
Yes.
The officer's eyes bug. Any foreign national exhibiting symptoms must be immediately deported.
No, she didn't understand you. She means no, Matthew responds.
To which Masha coolly nods.
Welcome to Canada, the border officer says, slowly handing our documents back to us.
Greeted at arrivals by my family.
They present me with Tim Hortons coffee.
Which Masha declines politely.
Matthew's family are very welcoming.
They are taken with Masha immediately.
I say, I have come for Matthew's money.
My family are mortified.
I assure them I'm joking. Nobody marries playwright for money, not even Ukraine.
We enter quarantine, setting up in a little one-bedroom.
And prepare for the arrival of our squeakling.
We chase health coverage for Masha. Even with all the papers in order, there is no telling how long it will take to process her application.
COVID has changed everything, just like in Ukraine.
I go to a sweat where prayers are sung for our son and the health of his mum.
While Matthew is gone, I receive a call on my new phone from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, stating that a warrant has been issued for someone with my same name. They're accused of shipping a large quantity of cocaine and that I must send my personal banking information right away to prove that it is not me or risk being arrested immediately.
By the time I get home, Masha is in a state of panic.
I will be deported.
No, you won't be.
I am at the mercy of Canadian authorities. They will send me away.
Nobody is sending anybody away.
I left my life behind. No one even knows who I am in this place, that I'm an artist, an actress.
We just arrived.
I left behind my family. I left behind everything. All I have is in 2 bags on my belly.
You have me.
I did not ship cocaine.
Baby, no Canadian authority would ever ask for personal banking information over the phone.
Das Wort.
A scam.
It is not only in Ukraine where one might fall prey.
Still embarrassed, Masha doesn't believe the next day that an email she receives from the Odessa Film Festival is legitimate.
They say I'm nominated for Best Actress.
That's great!
It's bullshit.
Maybe write them back, just in case?
Fine. I am nominated for Best Actress!
For a Golden Duke, Ukraine's Academy Awards.
Right after I leave the country, suddenly they like me.
Rather than walk the red carpet and attend the awards ceremony at the Odessa Opera House, Masha sets up to Zoom in a closet in our apartment.
But still dressed to impress.
And she wins!
My mother loses it.
Messages of congratulations pour in.
I'm cheering in a closet.
We play Khachaturian's waltz and dance around the apartment.
And this is more for Matthew's enjoyment.
My family toasts Masha's success.
They are very generous.
We roll out the slip and slide.
So I can walk down the red carpet?
Then we fall asleep, still dressed up.
Like we would have if we had celebrated in Odessa. But in the morning, nothing has changed.
You won Best Actress.
I am still almost 9 months pregnant in foreign land without health insurance.
Waiting for the application for health insurance to be processed is a nerve-wracking period. If we are forced to pay to have our baby in Canada, the cost will bankrupt us.
The second our son is born, he is Canadian.
But before then, he is foreign.
Less than 5 days before I'm due, my health coverage comes through.
The day before Masha goes into labor, the ward where she will be giving birth is declared a COVID hotspot.
Right after midnight, my water breaks. 7 hours later, we go to the hospital, where we find the emergency room door out of order.
I gesticulate wildly to the custodian inside the building.
He gesticulates wildly back.
We are both quite short.
It's like two Oompa Loompas performing the haka.
I shout,
How do we get to the delivery room?
and the custodian shouts back.
You can't get there from here.
I'm ready to lose my mind when Masha says calmly behind me,
Nobody has to die.
We find a working door and get Masha to the delivery room.
I push for 5 hours.
Without an epidural.
I want the birth to be natural.
I tell the nurse that I'm a fainter.
She doesn't let Matthew leave his chair.
I ask, how will we know if I'm the baby's father?
I tell Matthew, it is better to make unsuccessful jokes than to faint right now.
Masha and our baby are in trouble.
I push and I push, but he won't come out.
Nurses and doctors flood the room.
They say they need to help our son come out.
Masha agrees to the help.
And I push.
Ivan doesn't cry when he's delivered.
The nurses rush him off.
Masha's in distress.
I can't hear his voice.
The nurse ushers me over.
To tell him our baby is stillborn, I'm sure.
The nurse passes me the scissors to cut the last of Ivan's cord.
I hear his voice.
Ivan cries out.
The nurses bring Ivan to me.
Masha and I shed tears of joy.
I hold him close to my heart.
Our little boy.
Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?
So, that is how you came to be here,
On the shores of Lake Ontario.
in Takaronto,
With a mother who loves you.
and a father whose jokes are not always successful.
Ivan.
Ivan,
Vanichka.
the first Métis Man of Odessa.
Thanks for tuning in to our second episode of You Can't Get There From Here. Let us know what you thought on social media using the hashtag #FirstMétisMan of Odessa. As you may know, this year our entire season is being presented on virtual platforms at no charge to our audiences. These have been hard times for so many people in our theater community, and we wanted to make sure everyone could have access to our work on our virtual stages. But for those who are able, we ask that you consider making a donation in support of our free virtual programming so that we can continue to offer this vital access to arts and culture for audiences across Canada. All donations are 100% tax deductible and go directly to paying the artists and arts workers who made this series possible. To make a donation, visit the link in our description or visit factorytheatre.ca/donate. We would like to take a moment to thank our public funders at the Canada Council for the Arts, Ontario Arts Council, and Toronto Arts Council. We would also like to thank the TD Bank Group for generously sponsoring our free virtual programming for the entire season. Want to keep up with what's going on at Factory? Visit factorytheatre.ca and sign up for our email list to keep in touch. Up next is Yvette Nolan's You Can't Get There From Here. We hope you'll tune in.